Dominica's Prime Minister promises the upcoming general election will be free and fair. And in sport, the West Indies head coach says the Caribbean side mustn't take Afghanistan for granted in their upcoming series. I'm Dawn Paris, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Friday, November 1st, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break.
The CSME. What's in it for me? You are invited to a public town hall session on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, featuring the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mayor Motley, the CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, along with other panelists, at the Walcott Warner Theatre in the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination on the UWI Kayville campus from 6 to 8 p.m. on Monday, 4th November 2019. A public town hall on the CSME, broadcast live throughout the region via the Caribbean Media Corporation and UVTV. A production of the CARICOM Secretariat in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Barbados, the University of the West Indies, and UVTV.
Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt SKERRIT is giving assurances that the next general elections will be free and fair. Elections are constitutionally due next year, but at a meeting last night with Dominicans living in Barbados, SKERRIT said the polls will be held in under 85 days. Addressing questions on continued calls for electoral reform, he said his government has made attempts to implement the reforms, but they're being held up by the opposition.
And so we sought to go to Parliament on two separate occasions. The first time we went to Parliament, there was a mob outside of the Parliament. And to the point where they were prepared to storm the Parliament. And I, who is always a maker of peace and a promoter of peace, I decided to withdraw the bills on the other paper and to allow for there to be further consultation with stakeholders across the country. We wrote to the opposition in Dominica, for example, and we said to them, look, these are the amendments. Tell us which of these clauses you do not agree with and which you agree with, so that we can have a discussion, a sensible discussion in the matter. They are yet to submit to us that which they do not agree with and that which they agree with. We sought to go back to the Parliament a second time because we removed one or two clauses in the amendment, and the same thing happened.
Jamaica's Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is calling on authorities to disarm unfit police officers. The call came amid concerns that such police officers are contributing to the high incidence of questionable police shootings. We get more in this report from TVJ News.
While the INDECOM commissioners are lauding a 40% reduction in fatal police shootings this year compared to last year, Assistant Commissioner Hamish Campbell still has one major concern.
In a period between the 26th of April and the 6th of May, of the 8 people shot and injured, 4 were killed, 4 were injured, none had a gun at all. Of the 13 shooting incidents in September, 10 were killed, 3 were not. 7 of those persons did not have any firearm at all.
It's part of the reason INDECOM is calling for a review of several JCF policies relating to officers' access to firearms. For Commissioner Terence Williams, in other jurisdictions, it's expected that officers who are given firearms have been assessed and found fit to bear them.
Sadly, that is not always the case in Jamaica.
INDECOM is taking issue with the fact that, under the police services regulation, officers facing criminal charges, including murder, may continue their daily operations with force-issued weapons. He recounted a case where an officer was acquitted of murder in a case where the shooting was caught on video. He believes, despite the verdict, returning such an officer to frontline duty with a firearm is grossly negligent on the part of the police high command.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the investigation into sexual misconduct allegations against former Sport and Youth Affairs Minister Darrell Smith was improperly handled, but he says there was never any attempt by his government to cover up the findings. We get the details of that story in this TTT News report.
I don't know where this cover-up is, but wherever it is not with me, it is not with my office, and it is not with the government.
The statement by the Prime Minister at Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing. It's alleged that a payment of $150,000 was made to a former employee of the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs after she alleged that she was sexually harassed by former Youth and Sport Affairs Minister Darrell Smith. The Prime Minister said he woke up on Thursday to headlines in 2 daily newspapers which claimed there's an attempt by his government to cover up the findings of the investigation. Dr. Rowley told members of the media this is in fact not the case. He explained that although the findings of the report reflected poorly on the former sport minister, the matter was handled badly by the persons hired to investigate the allegations, therefore making the findings in the report unusable.
He was not spoken to by the compilers of the report, but they came to conclusions adverse to Mr. Smith without speaking to him. Those who did the report went too far without consulting Mr. Smith, and that would make the report unusable.
Dr. Rowley said it is for this reason that the information was not made public.
Stay with us. Your Midday Sport is next.
The CSME. What's in it for me? You are invited to a public town hall session on the CARICOM single market and economy, featuring the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Mottley, the CARICOM Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, along with other panelists, at the Walcott Warner Theatre in the Errol Barrow Center for Creative Imagination on the UWI Kville campus from 6 to 8 p.m. on Monday, 4th November 2019. A public town hall on the CSME, broadcast live throughout the region via the Caribbean Media Corporation and UWI-TV, a production of the CARICOM Secretariat in collaboration with the Caribbean Development Bank, the Government of Barbados, the University of the West Indies, and UWI-TV.
Newly appointed West Indies head coach Phil Simmons has warned his charges of the threat posed by his former side Afghanistan and says execution and consistency will be crucial to success in the upcoming series. West Indies arrived in India this week for a 6-match limited over series, 3 T20s and ODIs. The side, which is one of the youngest international sides, will be dangerous in familiar subcontinent conditions. And Simmons, who stepped down as Afghanistan coach following the ICC World Cup in July this year, when he appeared as a guest on I-95 radio program iSport last night, said the Afghanistan team is a hungry one and they'll make it a difficult series.
A difficult team to play against. I think in T20 and Test cricket more so, but they're difficult in all formats. We're playing in India, which suits them a lot better. The only thing that I have that I take from this is that we're not at the ground where we played at last year, because I think they have a better understanding of that ground, and this ground they've never played, so it's even. But it's going to be a difficult series. It's not Afghanistan, not a walkover to any team anymore.
Under the guidance of Simmons, the Caribbean side captured the T20 World Cup in 2016, but in his absence, they've slumped to number 10 in the format and number 9 in ODIs. Simmons, who has penned a 4-year contract as head coach, says he hopes to see the return of a winning culture during his tenure, and he insisted that consistency is key. We'll have more on that story later this evening. While West Indies take on Afghanistan in the first ODI in India next Wednesday. And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us at 6:30 this evening for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.